Hello students, so today we'll be solving the questions of the NEET UG 2022 examination that was held on Sunday 17 July 2022, right? And we'll be solving the biology question. So the first question is, which one of the following structures is haploid in its ploidy level, right? So what they're asking is that among the options given, which one will have haploid structure, or which one of these is haploid structure, right? So first is microspore mother cell, then protonemal cell of a moss, primary endosperm nucleus in dicot, and primary endospore nucleus. So we'll see the options one by one and then we'll eliminate, right? So first is microspore mother cell. Now here they have given microspore mother cell which will undergo meiosis and it will give rise to the haploid microspores. So first is wrong, right? Now coming to the second option, it is protonemal cell of a moss, right? So this protonemal cell of a moss represents the gametophytic phase of the mosses, and you must be knowing that gametophytic phase represents the haploid stage. So what should be the answer? It should be answer 2. Okay. Now coming to the third option, primary endosperm nucleus in dicot. When we say primary endosperm nucleus, in the case of angiosperms, we know it is triploid and it is formed by the triple fusion, right? So again, this is wrong. And primary endospore nucleus, which is usually seen, endospore is the structure which is usually seen in the lower organisms, mostly the bacteria, during the unfavorable conditions, right? So your answer is option number 2. Okay. Question number 102. Select the correct statement related to the activity of cork cambium, right? So you have to select the correct statement which represents the activity of cork cambium during the secondary growth, right? So first is that the cork differentiated from the cork cambium is impervious to water due to deposition of tannins and resins, right? It is true that the cork which is differentiating is impervious to water, but that is not because of deposition of tannins and resins. It is because of the deposition of suberin. These are the lines of NCERT. So first is not correct. Coming to the second one, it cuts the cells only on the outer side. Again, it is wrong because cork cambium shows its activity on both the sides, outer and the inner side. So let us see the third option. It cuts the cells on the inner as well as the outer side. That is correct. So your answer should be option number 3. Right? Coming to the fourth option, let us see why it is wrong. The outer cells differentiate into phallodome. Again, it is wrong. It is the inner cells that differentiate into the phallodome, whereas the outer cells differentiate into the cork or the phellum. Okay? So your answer is 3. Question number 103. Which one of the following process is responsible for the release of nitrogen in atmosphere? Right? So this is a question related to the nitrogen cycle, which is given in the mineral nutrition chapter, class 11th. Now here, if you'll see the options, then first is ammonification, denitrification, biological nitrogen fixation, and industrial nitrogen fixation. Now first, let us see what is ammonification. Ammonification is the formation of ammonia from the decaying biomass, right? So this is wrong. Coming to denitrification. Denitrification is the process in which the nitrates are converted into nitrogen, right, by the help of some bacteria like Pseudomonas. So this is correct option, where the nitrates in the soil are converted back to the nitrogen. Okay, so these are the lines of the NCERT which are given. So this is correct. Biological nitrogen fixation is the fixation of atmospheric nitrogen into another form. So this is wrong. Industrial nitrogen fixation, again when we are talking about nitrogen fixation, means the conversion of nitrogen to either ammonia, nitrates or nitrites. So the answer will be your option number 2. Okay. Question number 104. DNA replication is semi-conservative in nature, was experimentally proved in the eukaryotes by. So this particular statement that DNA replication is semi-conservative in nature, it was proved by which scientists? Right? This is a question from molecular basis of inheritance. So options given are MacLeod and McCarthy, Michelson and Stahl, Taylor and his colleagues, Hershey and Chase. Now you all must be confused with the option Michelson and Stahl, right? MacLeod and McCarthy and Hershey and Chase experiment are already excluded, right? But when it comes to Michelson and Stahl, yes, they did prove that DNA replication is semi-conservative, but in prokaryotes. E. coli, right? They did their experiment on E. coli. What they use a heavy isotope of nitrogen, right? Whereas in the question they have asked eukaryotes. right? So your answer will not be 2, but it is 3. That is Taylor and his colleagues. And what they did was they did their experiment on Vicia faba, that is the faba beans, right? Which is plant, right? And it was performed by them in the year 1958. This is given in the NCERT, right? So similar experiment was performed by Taylor and his colleagues, right, in Vicia faba, which is a eukaryote, which represents a eukaryote. So your answer will be 3, not 2. Okay. Question number 105. High dose of UVB causes inflammation of cornea and is called as, this is again a direct question, right, related to environmental issues. So here the options given are color blindness, evening blindness, snow blindness, and UV blindness. It is directly given that if UV radiations, the UVB radiations, if a person is regularly susceptible to these UVB radiation, then it leads to the condition that is snow blindness. Okay, so your answer is going to be option number 3. Question number 106. So here you are given the two lists, list 1 and list 2, you have to match them. Again, if you'll see, it is the question based on ETS complex, so it is from the respiration in plants, right? That is class 11th chapter. Now list 1 has given the complexes are given of the electron transport system, that is the ETS, and in the list 2 its components are given, so you have to match them. So first it is ETS complex 1. What is ETS complex 1? That is NADH dehydrogenase complex, right? So that is complex 1. ETS complex 2, that is, we are talking about complex number 2, so that is ubiquinone and FADH dehydrogenase complex. Then you have ETS complex 3. Complex 3 is cytochrome B-C1 complex. And then you have ETS complex 4, that is cytochrome AA3 and the 2 copper centers, right? So what are the options given? So option given are A4, B3. What should be the answer? It should be A3, B4, then C should be 1 and D should be 2, right? So your answer will be option number 3, A3, that is, if you'll see, A3, B4, right? So B4, C1, that is C1, and D2, that is cytochrome AA3. Okay, so your answer will be this, option number 3. Question number 107. The process of individuals of the same species that have come into the habitat from elsewhere during the time period under consideration is referred to as emigration, competition, immigration, or association. Now again, this is a direct question from organism and population. Now if you'll see, then what do we call this process in which the individuals of the same species are coming into an habitat from some another place during the time period which we are considering? So we call it immigration. So your answer will be 3. Okay. Question number 108. Which one of the following come under the evil quartet, right? Options are habitat loss and fragmentation, overexploitation, alien species invasion, mortality, and competition. So this is again a direct question of the NCERT where evil quartet is given, and it has 4 you can say components in it, that is habitat loss and fragmentation, overexploitation, alien species invasion, and the 4th one is co-extinction, right? However, here mortality and competition is given, which is not a part of this. So what should be the correct answer? Choose the correct answer. Option 1 is B, C, and D. Option 2 is A, B, and C, which should be the correct one. So your answer will be 2nd. Then you have A, B, and D, A, C, and D. So your answer will be 2. Question number 109. So here you have given 2 statements, statement 1 and 2. And what is statement 1? It is cellulose is a polymeric polysaccharide. Okay. So it is the question from biomolecules. Statement 1 is cellulose is a polymeric polysaccharide. These are the exact lines of the NCERT. So this is correct. Statement number 2, the building blocks of the cellulose are glucose molecules. It is a polysaccharide, it is a polymer, and its monomeric unit is glucose. So again, statement 2 is correct. Now, in the light of the above statement, choose the correct answer from the options given below. What are the options? Option 1, statement 1 is incorrect, but 2 is correct. This is wrong, both are correct. Second, both statement 1 and 2 are correct. So your answer should also be option number 2. Right? Moving to the next, both statement 1 and 2 are incorrect. This is wrong. Statement 1 is correct, but 2 is incorrect. Again wrong. Clear? Okay. Question number 110. The living differentiated cells read it very carefully, the living differentiated cells that lost the capacity to divide anymore can regain the capacity of division under certain conditions. This particular phenomena is termed as, what do we call it? So once the cells are differentiated, it means that they have become permanent, they have lost the capacity to divide, right? Now, again, they lost the capacity to divide, so they became differentiated. Now they regain the capacity to divide. It means that they become de-differentiated, right? Like the formation of the interfascicular cambium, right? That is an example of de-differentiation. So our answer should be de-differentiation. Okay?
The next question is question number 111. Here we have two lists, list 1 and list 2. It is a match the following type of question. It's a bonus question. If you know any two, you can easily get the answer. You should get full marks for this question. Very simple question. So here we have list 1 and list 2. In list 1, we have some diseases. Hemophilia we have, Down syndrome we have, phenylketonuria, Klinefelter syndrome. And in list B, if I read list 2, it's an inborn error of metabolism which lacks an enzyme converts phenylalanine into tyrosine. And in second, sex-linked recessive disorder, defect in blood coagulation. The third, we have presence of additional copy of X chromosome. That is, here we will get 44 plus XXY. Here we can get extra X copy in a male. Next, additional copy of syndrome chromosome number 21st. Here we will get a syndrome due to additional copy of chromosome number 21st. So now we will match it. First we will match with a simple one. We know about Down syndrome. Down syndrome is an example for trisomy. Here we will get an extra additional copy of 21st chromosome. Then match the Down syndrome with these four. Sir, very good. The Down syndrome is matched with, it is an additional copy of 21st chromosome, sir. It's a good example for trisomy, sir. So, B match with 4. Next, we will see the Klinefelter syndrome. Klinefelter syndrome, simple, very simple. Klinefelter syndrome. Here we will get extra X copy. Male will get extra X copy. The condition is XXY in male. Just match the Klinefelter syndrome. So, Klinefelter syndrome, sir, presence of additional copy of X chromosome in males. And these males are sterile, sir. So, we will match Klinefelter with 3. Okay. Let's try to match hemophilia and phenylketonuria. Phenylketonuria, very simple. Phenylketonuria. Phenylketonuria, it is a disease due to, in this metabolism, we lack an enzyme that converts phenylalanine to tyrosine. It's an inborn disease. Phenylketonuria. Simply, sir, C matches with 1. Then what about hemophilia? Very simple. Last one, we left hemophilia and this sex-linked recessive disorder. You know, hemophilia is a sex-linked recessive disorder, like color blindness. Color blindness is also example for sex-linked recessive disorder. Hemophilia, it's a sex-linked recessive disorders. If I write the correct matching, I can write A with 2, A with 2, B, Down syndrome, B with 4, B with 4. I'll write C with, C phenylketonuria, C with 1, D with Klinefelter syndrome, 3. We should match it now. A2, B4, C1, D3. We should find this matching in the given option. We got A2, B4, C1, D3. Do you find any such options? Yes, sir. Option 4. A2, B4, C1, D3. So the answer should be, sir, answer should be 4, sir. Very simple question. Next, we will discuss question number 112. We'll read the question. Identify the cytochrome which act as mobile carrier for transfer of electron between complex 3 and 4. Here he is talking about electron transport system. We have 5 complex, complex 1, complex 3, complex 2, complex 4, complex 5. This is how they arranged. Here we have a complex 1, if I write complex 1. Next arrangement is with complex 3. Here we have complex 2. Here we have complex 4. And next we have ATP synthase, complex 5. ATP synthase. So electron transferred from complex 3 to complex 4, complex 3 to complex 4. Here we have a mobile electron carrier which is present outside of inner membrane of mitochondria. And this mobile electron carrier is cytochrome C. Cytochrome C carries electron from complex 3 to complex 4. It's a mobile electron carrier. The answer is cytochrome C. Answer 3, sir. Cytochrome C. Simple. The next question is question number 113. Which one of the following is not criterion on genetic material? If I ask you which one is very good genetic material, which nucleic acid act as a genetic material in most of the organism? So DNA. We can say DNA is a common genetic material in most of the organism. Why DNA is common genetic material? Because it suits all the properties of genetic material. What are the important criteria to be as a genetic material? They are, let's start with the options. So it should be able to express itself in the form of Mendelian character. Yes, it should inherit in Mendelian pattern. Yes, sir, this is the right one. This is a criteria present in a genetic material. It should present in a genetic material. Next, it should be able to generate its replica. It should be able to generate its replica. It should be able to replicate itself. It should be produce its copy. Yes, sir, it is also a property or a criteria of a good genetic material. It should be stable chemically and structurally. It should be chemically and structurally, it should be stable. Yes, sir, it should be stable. It should not be more reactive. Yes, sir, it is also criteria for being it should be a criteria for a good genetic material. Next, it should not provide the scope for change for evolution. No, sir, it's wrong. Genetic material should provide scope for slow changes. Then only we can observe evolution. So the answer is 4. Answer is 4. Simple. Next we have question number 114. So question is, identify the correct statements related to androecium in the flower. Androecium. Androecium is the male reproductive part in a flower. Let's see the statements. What are given? The sterile stamens are called as staminodes. Yes, sir. Sterile stamens are called as staminodes. Comparatively, they are small in size. Sterile stamens are staminodes. Absolutely right. When stamens are attached to petals, what it is called? It is called epipetalous condition. When stamens are attached to petals, that is called epipetalous. Yes, sir. Epipetalous. Right answer. Right statement. So, monadelphy is seen in China rose. Monadelphy means when all the stamens are forming a single bundle. It is called monadelphy. Yes, sir. Monadelphy is observed in China rose. Here all the stamens form a single bundle. Monadelphy. It is observed in China rose. It's a right answer. Right statement. Next, polyadelphy seen in pea. No, we have studied Fabaceae family. We have studied floral diagram, floral formula. We have studied the characteristics of androecium arrangement in a pea. In pea plant, the stamens are arranged in 2 bundles. So in pea plant, stamens are arranged in 2 bundles. 2 bundles means diadelphy. But here in the statements, we can observe polyadelphy. No, polyadelphy is not observed in pea plant. So it's wrong, sir. Polyadelphy is not observed in pea plant. Then what type of adelphy we will see in pea plant? Diadelphy. Polyadelphy is a characteristic of citrus fruit. orange. So polyadelphy is a characteristic of citrus fruit. It's a wrong statement. Variation in the length of anther filament is seen in mustard. Variation in the length of anther and filament. Yes, variation in the length. Here he is talking about length of stamens. So in mustard, we have a long stamens as well as short stamens. We can observe variation of length of stamens in mustard as well as salvia. So this is called as tetradynamous condition. In mustard, we will get 6 stamens. 2 outer are small, 4 inner are long. So we can observe the difference or variation in a length of anther and filaments is in mustard. So this is also right, sir. Then he is asking about correct statement. What are all correct? Okay. A, B, C, E. Do we have A, B, C, E? Yes, sir. A, B, C, E. First option. A, B, C, E are correct. So answer is first. Simple. Next we will see the next question. Question number 115. So let's see the question. Given below are 2 statements. We have 2 statements. One is labeled as assertion and other is labeled as reason R. Assertion A, reason R. What is assertion? Assertion. The growth of multicellular organism is due to mitosis. Yes, sir. Growth in multicellular organisms occurs by mitotic division. Assertion is right. The growth of multicellular organism is due to mitosis. Next, reason. Reason R. Mitosis is also called as equational division and it offers genetic stability. Mitosis is also called as equational division. Yes, sir. It also offers genetic stability. Why it offers genetic stability? Because the same amount of genetic content transferred to daughter cell in mitosis. If you observe mitosis from a single cell, 2 cells are formed. 2 cells are formed and genetic content, whatever present in a parent cell, the same content is present in daughter cell. So they maintain genetic stability and this is also called as equational division. Yes, sir. Assertion is also right. Reason is also right. But we should conclude that whether reason is a correct explanation of assertion or it is not a correct explanation. Let's see. No doubt, mitosis is also called as equational division. It offers genetic stability. Yes, sir. It offers genetic stability. And growth of multicellular organisms due to mitosis, it occurs by mitosis. Growth of multicellular organisms will not occur by meiosis. It occurs by mitosis. Why it occurs by mitosis? Why growth of multicellular organisms occurs by mitosis? Sir, because in this growth, we can observe equational division, 2 same genetic content containing cells are produced. Growth of multicellular organisms occurs by mitosis because in mitosis, genetic content is stable in parents as well as daughter. So that's why in multicellular organism, growth occurs by mitosis. Are we satisfied when the reason is a correct explanation of assertion? Yes, sir. So we'll read it. A statement is not correct. No, A statement is correct. Both A and R statement are correct and R is a correct explanation of A. Yes, sir. R is a correct explanation of A. Reason is a correct explanation of assertion. I'll say a statement like this. So growth and multicellular organism is due to mitosis because mitosis maintains genetic stability or mitosis is equational division. Or I can say mitosis is also called as equational division or it maintains genetic stability. So that's why growth occurs in multicellular organism by mitosis. Growth do not occurs in multicellular organism by meiosis. It occurs by mitosis because mitosis maintains genetic stability or it is a equational division. Simple. The answer is 2. I hope The answer is clear to everyone. Next, we'll discuss about question number 116. Let's start this question. Identify a correct set of statements with regard to properties of humus. Properties of humus. Let's see what are the properties given and what are all the properties belongs to humus. So, highly resistant to microbial action? Yes, sir. Humus is highly resistant to microbial action. It's a right statement. It's dark color and amorphous? Yes, sir. It acts as a colloidal substance, so it is rich with nutrients. It is dark and amorphous substance. So, end product of detritus food chain? No, sir. It's not an end product of detritus food chain. In detritus food chain, even humus, after formation of humus, even humus is degraded. Humus degraded and minerals are formed. So, that is called as mineralization. Formation of minerals is the last step of detritus food chain. Humus is not a last step of detritus food chain. It's wrong, sir. It's a reservoir of nutrients. Yes, humus is a good reservoir of nutrients. Undergoes decomposition very fast. Humus do not undergo decomposition very fast. It's a very slow process. So, this is wrong. Next, we will see the correct statement. What are all the correct we got? So, we got A, B and D. A, B, D are correct statements, sir. Do we have A, B, D here in our option? Yes, sir. We have A, B, D only. So, the answer is, sir, fourth, A, B, D. Simple. Next, we will discuss about question number 117. The question is, the products of light reaction in photosynthesis are. What are all the products of light reaction in photosynthesis? You know, photosynthesis is divided into light reaction and dark reaction. So, products of light reactions are used in dark reaction. What are all the products are formed in light reaction? Yes, sir. We'll see. ATP is formed. Yes, sir. NADPH is formed. Yes, sir. O2 is formed. O2, is it formed as a result of light reaction? Yes, sir. In light reaction, photolysis of water occurs. Photolysis of water, water breaks and oxygen is released. Oxygen is released as a result of light reaction. And is it produced H2O? No, sir. H2O is not formed in light reaction. H2O will break into oxygen. H2O is not a product of light reaction. Okay. So, first option is wrong because H2O is given. Here also H2O is given. So, that's why second is also wrong. Here ATP, NADPH, CO2 is given. CO2 is not a product of light reaction. So, what is option left? The fourth option is left, that is ATP, NADPH and O2. Yes, sir. ATP is formed, NADPH is formed as well as O2 is formed as a result of photolysis of water. So, the answer is simple, fourth is the answer. So, next we will discuss question number 118. The question is, which one of the following experiments of Frederick Griffith experiment resulted in the discovery of bacterial transformation? Very good. So, from which experiment he concluded that something is transformed, or he concluded the transformation principle. Okay. Now, we'll see the experiment given here. He introduced S strain, heat killed S strain. You know, S strains are virulent. They can lead to death of mice due to pneumonia. S strains are virulent. But he introduced heat killed S strain. Yes, sir. Heat killed S strain means non-virulent S strain he introduced. But along with R strain, along with living R strain, live R strain, heat killed is non-living. Means it is non-virulent. It is mixed with living R strain. When heat killed S strain and living R strain are mixed and they are injected to mice, what you will expect? So, this is non-virulent because it is heat killed. This is also non-virulent. R strain is not virulent. Mice should not die, right? Because both of them are non-virulent. But mice is died. Why mice is died? Why meiosis died here? We made this non-virulent. Here also this is also non-virulent. Then why meiosis died? So because here R strains are transformed into S strain. R strains are converted or transformed into S strain. R strains are transformed into S strain, and even in the dead mice we observed active S strain. So from this experiment only he concluded that something is transformed. He concluded that R strain is transformed into S strain. So that's why mice died. So from this only he gave a principle, that is transformation principle. Yes, the first one is the right answer. We'll see why other are wrong. S strain injected to mice, mice died. S strain he injected, mice died. From this we can't conclude a transformation. So that's why this is wrong according to question. R strain injected to mice, mice lived. Yes, R strain he injected, mice lived. From this we can't conclude the transformation. Next, S strain heat killed injected to mice, mice lived. S strain heat killed, he injected to mice, but mice lived. Here also we can't conclude the bacterial transformation. So perfect option and the good answer for this question is when heat killed S strains are mixed with living R strain, and when they are injected to mice, mice died. From this we can conclude bacterial transformation. From this he concluded that R strain are transformed into S strain. So that's why he has given transforming principle by Griffith. So the answer for this question is 1. So next we will see question number 119. Which hormone is used to induce immediate stomatal closure in leaves? Which hormone involved in opening and closing of stomata? Simple, direct answer, the stress hormone. Which is a stress hormone? Abscisic acid. Abscisic acid involved in closure of stomata, immediate closure of stomata. Direct question. That is, answer is abscisic acid. Question answer is 2. Next we will move to question number 120. The question is, select the correct statement with respect to pleiotropism. Pleiotropism, you should know pleiotropism. What is pleiotropism? When a single gene responsible for many phenotypes, that is called pleiotropism. Single gene responsible for many phenotype. Okay. So first we should select a correct statement here. Yeah. A gene is said to be pleiotropic. A gene is said to be pleiotropic if it affects more than one trait. Yes, sir, it's right. Gene is said to be pleiotropic when it controls more than one traits. When it controls more than one phenotypes, then only it is called pleiotropic gene. So that's a right one. Next, phenylketonuria is an example of pleiotropy in direct NCERT line. Yes, sir. Phenylketonuria is a good example of pleiotropism. Next, a condition where one gene has several alleles is referred to as pleiotropism. No. The condition where one gene has several alleles, then it is called as multiple allelism. Blood group is a good example of multiple allelism. So this is not correct according to our question. So a trait is said to be pleiotropic if several genes control it. If several genes control a single trait, then it is called as polygenic inheritance. It is not pleiotropism. So then what we select here? Correct option. A and B are correct. Do we have option A and B? A and B, sir. 4. Yes. 4.
Hello everyone. So in question number 121, the question says, which of the following is the correct equation of exponential growth, right? So very first we will be understanding like exponential growth is taking place in a species where unlimited resources are there, right? It is given in the NCERT. So the direct formula is formed here and which is also mentioned in NCERT, that is NT is equal to N0 ERT. Understood? So here basically NT stands for like density, population density at particular time period, okay, after time, and where N0 stands for population density at 0 time, okay, where time is 0. Likewise, here we will be having R and E, okay, where R stands for intrinsic rate of natural increase and E is the base of the natural logarithm. So our answer would be answer 3. Question number 122 says, which of the following plants possesses the placentation of ovule borne on central axis with no septa? Okay, here it is asking for no septation, means central axial placentation will be there. So when we talk about the P, now it is having marginal placentation, right? Means at the margin the placentation will be occurring. Now next we have China rose. So in that axial placentation will be there, means here septas are present, right? Septas are present. It is on the axis but still having septas. Next we have prime rose. In prime rose we are having that central axis with no septa, means no septation will be there and the placentation arrangement will be at the central axis. Likewise in the lemon we will be having axial septa, okay, means the placentation will be type of axial placentation. So our answer would be prime rose. Answer number 3. In question number 123, the question says, what will be the ploidy of endosperm of a seed produced after crossing tetraploid female plants with tetraploid male plants, right? So very first we will talk about the general. Generally we are having diploid plants, right? We have diploid plants. And when we talk about the endosperm, guys, so we have studied like endosperm formation is taking place in between two polar nuclei and one male gamete, right? So it is forming 3N, and which is we called triploid condition. Understood? Now, if this type of case we are getting in diploid, then obviously when we are increasing the ploidy of the plant, like in female that is tetraploid and in male that is also tetraploid, okay, means ploidy is 4. Here the ploidy is 2. So obviously we will double this and we will get hexaploid, right? Hexaploid. So our answer would be hexaploid. Answer first. In question number 124, the question says, removal of apical dominance by decapitation is utilized for. So basically here we are removing the apical dominance, or we can cut the apical bud, right? We can cut the apical meristem. So why we are cutting this? It is very simple. You might have seen the boundary of the area. For making boundary or fencing, we have hedge making area, right? Actually the plants are growing there. We are removing the apical part by decapitation, and this is for hedge making, means we are making the boundary, we are making the fencing area, and this is called hedge. So our answer would be hedge making. Answer number 2. In question number 125, the question says, which of the following statements about facilitated diffusion is incorrect, right? When we talk about the facilitated diffusion, means it is the kind of passive diffusion. So basically here no energy will require. Now question is asking which is incorrect. So let's understand. The very first point is porins are involved in this process. Yes, porins are involved because porins helps in the transportation of water molecule. Next we have movement of molecule occurs against the concentration gradient. Now here we will see like it is saying against the concentration gradient, that is incorrect. Because in active we can call this, but in facilitated diffusion it will be going always in gradient manner, means from high concentration to low concentration. Understood? So our answer would be second, and that is your movement of molecules occurs against the concentration gradient, because that is incorrect. Okay. The third one is ATP is not required for this process. Yes, this is correct statement. Next we have special proteins of the membranes helps in this process, means here we will be having special proteins over here. So all the 3 points are correct, where second is incorrect. So our answer would be answer second. In question number 1 to 6, the question says species area relationship is described by the following equation: log S is equal to log C plus Z log A, where Z is. So very first we will be talking about the different parameters over here, like S stands for the species area, okay, means species richness. Understood? So here S stands for species richness, whereas C stands for the y-intercept and A stands for area, where Z is. Slope of line is also called as regression coefficient, right? Regression coefficient. So our answer would be second, that is slope of line. The question number 1 to 7, the question says genetically engineered insulin for human is produced from. So basically before that we were using slaughtered pig, but nowadays we are using Escherichia coli, which is very easily forming the A and B type of peptide chain. Okay, so our answer would be Escherichia coli, which is also called as E. coli. Nowadays it is in use. So our answer would be answer 4. The question number 1 to 8 says, which of the following physical properties of water is or are responsible for providing water, high tensile strength and high capillary during ascent of sap in the plants? When we talk about the ascent of sap, means the sap is going in ascending form. So basically it is happening with the help of transpirational pull. So when we talk about the transpirational pulls, mean we have 3 different type of process by which this is happening. So we have cohesion force, adhesion force and surface tension. Let's talk about one by one. Cohesion means the interaction or attraction force between 2 water molecules. The attraction in between 2 same molecules will be called as cohesion force. Whereas when we talk about the adhesion force, means now the interaction or attraction in between the water molecule and xylem walls. Understood? Now next we have surface tension. Now try to understand, when the water molecules are attracting together, that time they are having a surface tension. When they are in gaseous state, the surface tension is very low as compared to in liquid state. So when they are in liquid state, the surface tension is high. Because of this, ascent of sap is taking place. So our answer would be first, that is your cohesion, adhesion and surface tension. The question number 1 to 9 says, choose the mismatched pair of leaf characters with its example. Now we have 4 options. One is alternate phylotexy. Okay, let's understand this term. Let's suppose we have a stem. Okay, and we all know that in a stem we having node area and internode area, and we also know that from nodal part the leaf formation will take place, right? Like leaves arising from this. Now try to understand, if leaves are arranging in alternate manner like this, then this type of phylotexy is known as alternate phylotexy. And yes, it is present in the China rose. Understood? Now, next we have leaf tendril, and that is P. We know that the leaf tendril is the modification of the leaf, and that we see in the pea plant. So this is also correct. Next we have opposite phylotexy. In this case, the stem is there and leaves are arranging in this manner, means they are arising from the one single node but in opposite pattern, right? So this kind of arrangement will be called as opposite phylotexy, and yes, this is found in the Calotropis. Next we have palmately compound, okay, and here we have Elstonia. When we talk about the Elstonia, in Elstonia we have rolled type of arrangement or phylotexy, means from one axis many leaves are arising, right? Means at single node the leaves are coming at the single axis, right? So this kind of arrangement will be found in Elstonia. So our answer would be what? Our answer would be fourth. The question number 130 says, in prophase first of meiosis, chromosomes start pairing together and synapsis takes place. This process occurs during which of the following stage? So try to understand over here. Very first we have prophase first, right? And it is happening in the meiosis first also. So very first we will see the statement over here. It is talking about the start pairing together and synapsis takes place. That line is very important. Try to understand. Let's suppose this is chromatid, right? And now we have its sister chromatid. Now when homologous chromatid will start pairing with itself, okay, means now the homologous chromosome will attach with your another chromosome, then this type of pairing will be called as zygotine. Means here we have homologous chromosomes, now they are coming closer and forming synapses. Now they are attaching. This type of attachment will be seen in zygotine. So that's why our answer would be 3, that is zygotine. Question number 131 says, given below are the two statements, right? Means now we will be having two statements over there. One is assertion and another one is reason for the assertion, right? Now we have 4 different statements over there, and according to that we have to choose the criteria of these two statements. The first saying, restriction enzyme is a type of endonuclease, right? When we talk about the restriction enzyme, then guys, it is also known as molecular scissor, right? And it is the bigger, we can call, like it is the part of the nuclease type of enzymes, which is a bigger class. And if we talk about the different type of nuclease, then it is of 2 types, endonuclease and exonuclease, right? But here that restriction enzyme is a type of endonuclease, understood? So now that statement is correct. Now let's talk about the reason. Restriction enzyme cuts the 2 strands of DNA, okay, at specific positions within the DNA, and that's why it is called endonuclease. So both are satisfying each other, and that's why our answer would be 2. That is, both A and R are correct, and R is the correct explanation of A. Question number 132 saying us axillary bud are derived from the activity of. We have 4 type of meristems over here. One is your secondary meristem, which is coming out from the dedifferentiation, right? Now next we have apical meristem, means at the top the meristem is present, that is called as apical meristem. Third one is intercalary meristem, means here we have nodes and internodes, right? So in between the nodes and internodes, means in between 2 nodes we will be having internode. So here that intercalary meristem will be present. Next is our lateral meristem, which is also known as secondary meristem, right? Now try to understand, it is talking about the axillary bud. Now first of all we will be talking about what is that. Let's suppose that is a leaf. Now here a small bud formation is taking place, precursor of the branch, okay, precursor of the branch. So that is actually made up of apical meristem, means when it is growing, when stem is growing, that time few meristem cells are leaving behind and forming that axillary buds, okay, and that's why our answer would be apical meristem, and the answer is 2. Question number 133, given below are two statements, means one we will have assertion and another we will have reason, okay. Let's understand, are they completing each other or not. First statement says, a father will never pass the gene for hemophilia to his son. The reason is saying, hemophilia is sex-linked, X-linked recessive trait. In the light of the above statement, choose the correct answer from the options given below. We know that hemophilia is the condition where blood clotting is not taking place, means formation of blood clot is not happening, right? And that disease is sex-linked disease, okay? Means now it is totally sex-linked, but especially in sex-linked, it will be found on X-linked as recessive trait, understood? So that's clear, like father is not going to pass that gene for the hemophilia to his son, means that if recessive X we have and if it is combining with Y, right, then only it will be having hemophilia, means it is X-linked disease and it is recessive trait, right? Means, try to understand, means let's suppose this is the condition of female. Now it is your recessive X, yes, means female is just carrier, she is the carrier. Now try to understand, now if suppose this X is reaching to the Y gamete of the male, okay, means now it is combining with Y, then a son is there, means now boy will be formed, and now it is having X and that is hemophilic, and because of this now son will be getting this hemophilia disease, understood? So statements are complementing each other, that's why our answer would be 2. Question number 134, we have matched the column here, means now two lists are there and we have to correct them, match them correctly, right? Now the very first is like cedrus. Now it is the example of which type of division? When we talk about the cedrus, then we know that it is the gymnosperm, and gymnosperms are having naked seeds, right? And it is the example of gymnosperm. Likewise, we have adiantum, and we all know that adiantum is the example of pteridophyte. Pteridophyte. Adiantum, pteridophytes, right? And pteridophytes are also known as amphibians of plant diversity. Now, next we have sphagnum and marchantia. So basically, if we talk about the sphagnum and marchantia, then they both are the example of bryophytes. And in bryophytes, we study two type of categories, that is liverwort and moshes. So let's understand, sphagnum is the example of what? So when we talk about the sphagnum, it is the example of moshes, and whereas marchantia is the example of liverwort. So accordingly, now we have to match. Well, here we have second option, that A is matching with the gymnosperm, B is matching with the pteridophytes, C matching with the moshes, and D matches with the liverworts. So our answer would be 2. Question number 135 says, phloem sap in the plants mainly consist of. Well, we are already knowing about the fact that xylem carrying water and mineral, right? Water and mineral. Likewise, we know that phloem carries food. Understood? Now we all know that Like ma'am, when two type of vascular systems we have, then water exchange also taking place, right? Means some amount of water will be also there in phloem. Now, we know that when photosynthesis is taking place in the presence of sunlight in the leaf, that is forming what? Glucose, right? That is forming glucose. But when it is being transported from one place to another place, which is also called as translocation, right? Translocation. So at this point, thus glucose will be converting into the sucrose. So now we can call, like in the phloem sap, we will be having sucrose and water. Means the sap is made up of sucrose and water instead of glucose and water. So our answer would be 3, that is sucrose and water. Question number 136 says us, which of the following bond is formed if as a result of reaction of the carboxyl group of one amino acid with amino group of other amino acid with elimination of water. Okay, means now here it is talking about the formation of what? Protein. When amino acid will be binding together, will be forming protein, a long chain of protein. So let's understand the basic structure of the amino acid. This is called carboxyl group and this is called amino group. Now when we have next amino group, right, means now we are talking about the next amino acid. So here we will be having another amino acid, and now try to understand here. It is saying when carboxyl group of one amino acid is combining with amino group of next amino acid and eliminating water, then they will be forming a bond in between two. Okay, now here we can write like this. The bond is formed and that bond is formed called as peptide bond. Okay, peptide bond. So here we can call like peptide bond formation will take place. So our answer would be 3, that is peptide bond. Question number 137 says, which of the following was proved by girdling experiment? It is given in the last paragraph of the NCERT and it is given like girdling experiment was done for phloem, right? What they did for this experiment, actually they removed the bark which is coming along the phloem. So later on what happened? Because of the no phloem, the outermost area or layer got swollen, right? So this hence proved like phloem is important for the movement of the food material, right? So now it is very simple, like girdling experiment proved that phloem is responsible for the translocation of the food. So because of this experiment, we came to know that phloem is responsible for the transportation of food. So answer would be 3. Question number 138. Identify the fungi which do not belong to the group of other fungi amongst the following. Means now here we have 4 type of options and now which is not belonging to that particular group that we have to take on. Now see, we have puffballs, mushrooms, bracket fungi and sac fungi. As we all know that in fungi we have 4 classes, right? Sac fungi, it is the example of Ascomycetes, right? Ascomycetes. And these all are the examples of Basidiomycetes, right? And that's why we can see the difference and that's why our answer would be 4th, that is sac fungi. So answer is 4. Question number 139. The ratio of the carbon dioxide fixation between 3,4 plants and C3 plants is. Okay, so very first we will understand like in which type of plant we will be having more efficiency of fixation of carbon dioxide. Well, we know that on Earth we have three types of plants, C4 plants, C3 plants and can plants, right? But in between C4 and C3, C4 will be having the more efficiency of fixation of carbon dioxide. So very simple, the answer would be ratio 2:1. Here 2 stands for the C4 and 1 stands for the C3. So now it will have the double efficiency of fixation of carbon dioxide as compared to C3. So answer would be 4. Question number 140 says following crops have been extensively cultivated in CO2 rich atmosphere for higher yields. Why? Actually, what happens, like when we talk about the different kind of vegetables or the plants, they have different yielding property, right? They have different rate of photosynthesis, adaptation of CO2. So likewise we can call, like when we have more CO2, means environment is rich in CO2, that time tomato and bell pepper, they both are responding well in response to CO2, means more CO2, more photosynthesis. Understood? And because of this, yielding will be more. And that's why we grow tomato and bell pepper in high CO2 rich area or atmosphere for their higher yield. So answer would be 3, that is tomatoes and bell pepper. Question number 141 says, given below are two sentences. We having assertion and reason type. So first statement is, in rDNA technology, non-recombinant transformed bacteria grow on medium containing ampicillin as well as medium containing tetracycline. That is the statement. Well, we know that when it is given non-recombinant means the ampicillin resistance gene and tetracycline resistant genes are active, right? Tetracycline resistant gene active, right? Both the site are active, both the genes are active because it is non-recombinant type of bacteria, means now because it is non-recombinant type. Now next we have reason why. Here we have, like, recombinant plasmid contains the foreign DNA or gene of interest. Yes, recombinant plasmid having the foreign DNA or we can call the gene of interest, but it is non-recombinant type. And that's why when we will grow this bacteria in tetracycline and ampicillin culture, it will grow easily because it is having the resistant gene which is active in nature right now. Understood? So our answer would be third. That is both. Let's understand, is reason is the perfect answer for the assertion? Let's understand. Because recombinant plasmid contains the foreign DNA or gene of interest. Yes, it is having gene of interest, but it is not the correct explanation of assertion. And because of that, our answer would be third. That is both A and R are correct, but R is not the correct explanation of A. So answer would be 3. Question number 142 says the thickness of the ozone in the column of air, question number 142 says the thickness of the ozone in a column of air from ground to the top of the atmosphere is measured in the term of. We know that it is measured in Dobson unit. So our answer would be Dobson. And here we have answer 3, and that's why answer would be your 3. Question number 143 says, given below are the two statements. One statement says, semi-conservative replication was experimentally proved by Matthew Meselson and Franklin Stahl. Yes, this is correct. statement is correct. Now let's understand the reason. Mendelssohn and Stahl used radioactive isotope 15N. This is wrong. Understood? Means our reason is wrong. So here we can say like A is correct but R is not correct, and our answer would be 4. Question number 144 says, which of the following are not correct regarding decomposition of waste? Right? Now here we have few options. Let's understand one by one. It is asking for the not correct. Okay? Now, low temperature inhibits the decomposition. Okay? Then we have warm and moist environment favors the process. The process is anaerobic. That is incorrect. Means that is not correct. Understood? Next, it's slower if detritus is rich in protein and carbohydrate. That is also not correct. That is also not correct. Detritus is degraded into simpler inorganic substances by fungal and bacterial enzymes. Now we have options, right? So here, if you can see, 2 options are not correct, right? Which one? One is our C and another one we have D, right? So according to that, we are having the second option, that is C and D, and that's why our answer would be second. Question number 145 says, which of the following is not a character of collenchyma tissues? The options are, they occur in layers below epidermis in dicotyledon plants. Okay, that is the character of collenchyma. Next, we have they consist of cells with thick corners due to the cellulose deposition. Yes, this is also the character of collenchyma. Next, we have they are usually dead and without protoplast. Well, this is not the character of collenchyma. Okay, means sclerenchyma having this property, right? So this will be the wrong. Now next we have they provide mechanical support to the growing plants of the plants, that is growing part of the plants, that is true. So means our answer would be third, that is answer number, the answer would be 3, that is they are usually dead and without protoplast. The question number 146 says, assuming that fur color of an animal is dark, range of color shades and white, a cross is made between a male, that is capital A, capital B and C, with dark fur color, and a female small a, small b and C with white fur. What would be the fur color of F1 generation? Okay, it is asking for the F1 generation. So we will cross them. Right? Now see. When we will cross them, we will get, when we will cross them, we will get this, right? All the F1 generations will have this. Now try to understand over here, like we have, here if you can see, here we have many genes. Means it is the condition of polygenic, means now it is the polygenic condition, okay? Now it is the polygenic condition. What does it mean? When one character is controlled by many genes, right? Here we have many genes and they all are participating in the control and coordination of the skin, right? Skin color. So that's why it will be called as polygenic condition, and here we will get the intermediate color because of the involvement of all the genes, right? So our answer would be 4, that is all intermediate color. Question number 147, which of the following micronutrients would help in the light phase of photosynthesis to help in the reaction leading to oxygen evolution? And we all know that like this is the process of photosynthesis, right? Photosynthesis. And here we generally use manganese and chlorine, right, means they are the important micronutrients which are helping in the light phase of the photosynthesis, right? So simply our answer would be third. Question number 148. Which of the following set represents the correct labeling of A, B, C and D with respect to the given diagram? Here we have a small diagram and now we have to tell according to the points. Now here, very first, when we talk about the A means outermost covering, right? That is outermost covering called as seed coat, right? That will be called as seed coat. Now, when we talk about the B point, right, we know that the internal part that is actually called as cotyledon, right? That is called as cotyledon. So, that will be our cotyledon. And when we talk about the C, that dotted part, okay, this will be your endosperm. Endosperm. And you know that its ploidy is 3N, triploid condition, okay, endosperm. D is what? That lower part which is giving rise to the root. So, the cover of the root we can call, and the cover of the root is called as hypocondyle, right? So, now according to that, now you can understand what will be the option. So, if we talk about this one, A, seed coat, okay, then B, cotyledon, C, endosperm and D, hypocondyle. So, our answer would be 4. Question number 149 says, given below are the two statements. Now, here we will be having two statements, one assertion and reason. Let's understand, are they complementing to each other or not? The first statement says, the beginning of the diplotin is recognized by dissolution of the synaptonemal complex and formation of X-shaped structure called chiasmata, right? Yes, this is correct answer, means this is correct statement, right? Now, let's understand the reason. In oocyte of the some vertebrates, diplotin can last for months or years. Now, this statement is also correct. Now, try to understand, is this complementing to assertion or not? The beginning of the diplotin is recognized by the dissolution of the synaptonemal complex and formation of X-shaped structure called chiasmata, because in oocytes of some vertebrates, diplotin can last for months or years. What? You understood? We understood here, like, ma'am, both statements are correct, but this is not correct explanation of assertion, right? Means R is not correct explanation of A. So, our answer would be third. Both A and R are the correct, but R is not the correct explanation of A. So, our answer will be 3. Question number 150. The construction of the first recombinant DNA emerged from the possibility of linking a gene encoding antibiotic resistant with a native plasmid of which of the following organism, right? When we talk about the Escherichia coli, it is not having the resistant gene for antibiotic, right? Now see, it is talking about the encoding antibiotic resistant with our native plasmid, okay? Now, we have Salmonella typhimurium. So, our answer would be second, that is Salmonella typhimurium, okay? Question number 151. Given below are the two statements. First is assertion, second is reason. Now, we have to see, are they complementing each other or not? The first statement says, with the help of Ommatidia, right? With the help of several Ommatidia, a cockroach can perceive several images of an object, and this type of vision is called as mosaic vision and found in compound eye, right? In cockroach, they are having compound eye and we are having simple eye. And these are the small cone-like structures, okay, conical structures. Small cones are there. Many Ommatidias are aggregating in one eye forming compound eye, okay. and that's why showing mosaic vision. That is correct. Let's see, is it complementing R, means R is correct explanation of assertion or not. Now, reason is mosaic vision gives more sensitivity but less resolution. Okay. Now see, both statements are correct, but R is not correct explanation of assertion, and that's why we will take on third. And the third statement is both A and R are correct, but R is not correct explanation of A. So our answer would be 3. Question number 152. Inadequate supply of oxygen to heart muscles lead to a symptom of acute chest pain. Okay, acute chest pain. This disorder of the circulatory system is identical as, now try to understand here, well, angina is equal to pain, right? And that's why answer would be angina pectoris. Whereas in coronary heart disease, the coronary vessels will be affected, right? Heart failure means in this case it is not pumping efficient blood to the body, means not working efficiently, whereas cardiac arrest suddenly it is stopped, okay, stopped working. So that's why we can call, like here what we can call, means answer would be 4, and they all are not the type of the acute chest pain, okay, it is kind of chronic disease. So our answer would be 4. Question number 153. In Drosophila, a gene for the color of body and the color of eyes are situated on. We know that it is the sex-linked gene, right? And especially when we talk about the chromosome, that is situated on X. So our answer would be X chromosome. So our answer would be 3. Question number 154. An intestinal hormone that stimulates the pancreas to release watery secretion that is rich in bicarbonate ions, right? An intestinal hormone that stimulates the pancreas to release watery secretion that is rich in bicarbonate ion. So especially from intestine, we are having a hormone that is stimulating the pancreas, okay? The hormone is stimulating the pancreas to release bicarbonate ions, simply. So basically that hormone name is, the name of that hormone is secretin, right? So basically it is going to activate the pancreas, stimulating the pancreas to release these bicarbonate ions. So our answer would be secretin, and that is your third answer. Question number 155. The hormone releasing Iuds, intrauterine devices, among the following are. So we have to find out that which is hormone releasing, okay? Multilode 375, LNG20, progestasert, lipase loop and volts. Now let's bifurcate them accordingly. We know that like multilode 375 and lipase loop, they both are non-medicated device, right? And whereas when we talk about the hormone releasing, means medicated device, that is your LNG20 and progestasert, okay? Name telling. So that will be your medicated device. And next we have volts, that is Verrier, okay? So our answer would be LNG and progestasert. And in this we have third option, B and C only. So our answer would be third. Question number 156. Which of the following disorders represents decrease in the respiratory surface due to the damage of alveolar walls? It is very simple, like when decrease in the alveolar walls takes place, means efficiency of exchange of gases decreasing, right? And it is because of the intake of more tobacco, or we can call consuming more tobacco and having smokings, right? So in this case, the person can be deceased, or we can call the person is affected from emphysema disease. Understood? Now let's understand the other one also. The answer would be emphysema, but let's understand these also. Bronchitis means inflammation in bronchi. Asthma, basically constriction in the tube, okay? So now at that time we take bronchodilators. And next we have hypocapnia. So basically here the decrement in the level of the CO2 takes place, okay, decreasing the level of CO2 in the blood. So that time this will be called as hypocapnia. So our answer would be 3, that is emphysema. Question number 157. Which of the following is or are vegetative propagules? Well, here we are talking about the vegetative portion, okay, means now the plant part will be helping in the production of the clones, right? And another one, what we can understand here, like here vegetative propagation is taking place. So here basically we are talking about the plants. Now let's understand how many. Eyes of potato, yes, it is the vegetative part of the plant. So this is correct. Next we have zoospores of Calamidomonas. We all know that zoospore is the asexual spore, right? Asexual spore. Now next we have rhizome of ginger. Yes, this is also the vegetative part. Buds of hydra. We know that the hydra is animal, right? It is in animal category. Bulbil of agave. Yes, that is also correct. So A, C and D, that will be the answer and it is in first answer. So our answer would be first. Question number 158. In a cell, the separation of DNA strands is brought about by the enzyme DNA helicase, whereas in PCR, the separation of DNA strands is due to the high temperature. Very simple. So our answer would be high temperature. Question number 159. Which of the following is the type of epithelium lines the wall of blood vessels? We know blood vessels. We know that in the blood vessels, the innermost layer is made up of endothelium and that endothelium layer is made up of squamous, right? So answer would be squamous epithelium and answer is 1. Question number 160. Endemism refers to. Endemism refers to means it is the type where species are confined to the particular region, okay, means endemic species we can call, and that is we can take on second and answer will be species confined to that particular area will be called as endemism. Understood? And the species will be called as endemic species. Endemic species. So answer would be 2.
Next question is question number 161. The term blue revolution is related with first option, development of water reservoir. Second, honey and its byproducts. Third, fishery industry. Fourth, various crop plants and their byproducts. Blue revolution is related with the fishery industries to increase the fish production. So correct answer for this option number 3, fishery industry. Next question number 162. The oocytes of some vertebrates get arrested for years or months in option 1, diplotin, option 2, dikinesis, option 3, metaphase 1 and option 4, telophase 1. So the oocytes of some vertebrates get arrested for years or months in the diplotin stage of meiosis 1. Correct option for this question number 162 is option 1, diplotin. Next is question number 163. Which one of the following is not an assisted reproductive technology used by childless couples to have children? Your options, option number 1, IUD, second, IVF, third, IUT, fourth, ZIFT. ART, assisted reproductive technology, it includes different procedures for infertility, for treating infertility. And it includes IVF, IUT, ZIFT, GIFT and AI, etc. But IUD, intrauterine device, is used for contraception. So correct option for this question is option number 1, IUD. Next is question number 164. Population with finite resource shows a logistic growth curve where the correct sequence of events will be. First option, acceleration phase, deceleration, asymptote. Second, acceleration phase, lag phase, stationary phase. Third option, lag phase, acceleration phase, deceleration and asymptote. Fourth option, stationary phase, acceleration phase, lag phase and asymptote. Guys, if we talk about a growth, okay, logistic growth in a limited resource, right? So in a limited resource, it shows a sigmoid curve. And this sigmoid curve has some phases. First is the lag phase. Second is acceleration phase. Okay. Then there is deceleration and the asymptote. Right? And the correct sequence of this logistic growth curve is given in option 3, lag phase, acceleration phase, deceleration and asymptote. So correct answer for question 164 is option 3. Next is question number 165. A low frequency recombination indicates that genes are option 1, located closer to each other, second, not linked, third, present on different chromosomes, and fourth, located far apart from each other. If we talk about chromosomes, guys, okay, if chromosomes have genes which are closer to each other, suppose these are two genes, gene A and B, and they are closer to each other, they have more linkage, okay, and whenever there is more linkage, okay, there will be less recombination. So whenever we talk about the genes, okay, which are present in chromosome closer to each other, there will be more linkage in between them and there is less frequency of recombination. So correct answer for this question number 165 is option 1, located closer to each other. Next is question number 166. Arrange the following male sex accessory ducts in the correct sequence for the transport of sperms from the testes. Epididymis A, B. Ejaculatory duct, C. Vas efferentia, D. Retitestes, E. Vas deferens. Choose the most appropriate answer from the options given below. To find the answers, first we have to arrange these 5 in a proper sequence. Okay. So if we see here, first comes the retitestes. Okay. Then comes the vas efferentia, then comes epididymis, okay, then comes vas deferens E, okay, and then lastly B, ejaculatory duct. DCAEB and DCAEB is given in second option, so correct answer is option 2. Next is question number 167, the regulation of respiration. In the regulation of respiration, a chemosensitive area adjacent to the rhythm center in medulla region of brain is highly sensitive to. Options are carbon dioxide, oxygen, second option, third nitrogen, fourth option bicarbonates. Okay. So, option 1 is the correct answer, carbon dioxide, because this chemosensitive area which is adjacent to the rhythm center in the medulla region of brain is highly sensitive to carbon dioxide and H ions. Next is question number 168. Chylomicrons are option 1, micro-sized lipid molecules, option 2, protein-coated fat globules, option 3, spherical aggregates of fatty acid, option 4, fat-coated protein globules. It's a direct question. So, option 2 is the correct answer. Protein-coated fat globules are the chylomicrons. Next is question number 169. Genetic drift occurs due to option 1, sudden population migration, option 2, continuous gene migration, option 3, mutation, fourth, natural selection. Genetic drift, it occurs by chance or it is occurring suddenly, okay, it is just a sudden event. And if we talk about this genetic drift, it occurs maybe because of sudden migration, okay, there is a habitat fragmentation, okay, and there are many more reasons. So, if we talk about genetic drift, according to the options, option 1 is the correct answer. Sudden population migration will cause genetic drift. Next is question number 170. Immunosuppressants are administered to burn patients or during organ transplantation to suppress. First, cytokine storm. Second, humoral immunity. Third, cell-mediated immunity. And fourth, innate immunity. If we talk about burn patients and the organ transplant patient, T helper cells are responsible for the graft rejection and they are related to the cell-mediated immunity. And this is why we give immunosuppressants to these patients. Okay. So, correct answer for this question 170 is option 3, that is cell-mediated immunity. Next is question number 171. Normal sleep-wake cycle in a human body is maintained by the secretion of first, thymus gland, second, pineal gland, third, pituitary gland, and fourth, thyroid gland. If you know, pineal gland is responsible for secretion of melatonin, which controls the normal sleep-wake cycle of humans. Okay, so the correct option for question number 171 is option 2, pineal gland. Next is the question number 172. Air bladder is found in option 1 is second, cyclostomata, third, chondrichthyes, and fourth, osteichthyes. It's a direct question. So, air bladder is present in osteichthyes, and because of presence of this air bladder, these bony fishes, osteichthyes, doesn't require to swim continuously. Okay. Next question is question number 173. With respect to nucleosome, which of the following statement is incorrect? Options. Option 1. Nucleosome are seen as beads on string under electron microscope. True. Okay. Second, DNA is wrapped around positively charged histone octamer to form nucleosome. It is also true. Third option, nucleosome is the repeating unit of chromatin. True. Fourth option, nucleosome contains 120 base pairs of DNA helix. So, according to NCERT, we can say that nucleosome contains 200 base pairs, not 120 base pairs. Okay. So, option number 4 is the incorrect statement for nucleosome. Next is question number 174. In a reaction catalyzed by enzyme, which of the following statement is correct? First option, enzymes make transition from substrate to product more difficult. Second, enzymes increases in activation energy for formation of transition state. Third, enzyme substrate complex formed during a reaction lasts for a very long time. Fourth, enzyme decreases the activation energy for formation of transition state, and in question they asked us about the correct statement. So, correct statement for enzyme catalyzed reaction, okay, is option 4. How can we say that? Students, if we talk about a reaction which occurs without involvement of enzymes, okay, it will take a lot of activation energy. It needs more activation energy. But in the reactions which are catalyzed by enzyme, it takes less activation energy. Right? So, enzymes decreases the activation energy for the formation of transition state. Next is question number 175. Given below are two statements. Statement 1, membrane-bound organelles of the endomembrane system coordinate cellular functions. Statement 2, mitochondria and chloroplast are not considered a part. Of the options given below, in the light of the above statement, choose the most appropriate answer from the options given below. Right? So, we have two statements here and we have to select the most appropriate answer relevant to these statements. Right? Let's see. Option 1. Statement 1 is incorrect. No. Membrane-bound organelles of the endomembrane system coordinate their cellular function. That's true. Okay. And statement 2. Mitochondria and chloroplast are not considered a part of it. Why so? Because their functions are not in coordination with the endomembrane system. Okay. So, statement was incorrect, but statement 2 is correct. No. Second option, both statement 1 and 2 are correct. True. Option 3, both statement 1 and statement 2 are incorrect. Wrong. Statement 4, option 4, statement 1 is correct but statement 2 is incorrect. No. So, correct answer for this question number 175 is option 2. Both the statement 1 and 2 are correct. Next is question number 176. One of the strands of double-stranded DNA has base composition as follows. One of the strand has base combination as follows. It has A 15%, thymine 15%, okay, guanine 40% and cytosine 30%. Okay. So, according to Chargaff rules, A equals to T and G equals to C, right? So, if this is the base composition of one strand, then what will be the composition of another complementary strand of DNA? A equals to T. So, T should be 15%, right? A should be 15%, complementing to G. Cytosine should be 40%, okay, and guanine should be 30%. Now, let's find the correct option which has this percentage of all the nitrogen bases. Okay, let's see. Option 1, 15% A, 10% T, no. 40% G, no. 15% C, no. Okay. Second option, 15% A, 15% T, 40% G, no. 30% C, no. 15% A, 40% T, no, not possible. Okay. 15% G and 30% C, right? So, these three are the incorrect option and we have to find out the correct one, right? So, 15% A, 15% A, 15% T, 15% T, 30% G, 30% G and 40% C. 40% C. So, we can say that option number 4 is correct answer for question number 176. Next is question number 177. Given below are two statements. Statement 1, amphibians and reptiles. Amphibians and reptiles have 3-chambered heart and with 2 atria and a single ventricle and are oviparous in nature. Correct? Statement 1 is correct. Statement 2, crocodile possess a 4-chambered heart with 2 ventricles and 2 atria. True. And are viviparous in nature? No, they are oviparous in nature, right? So, because of presence of viviparous in this statement, statement 2 becomes wrong. It is incorrect, okay? Let's find the correct option. In the light of the above statement, choose the most appropriate answer from the options given below. Option 1, statement was incorrect, but statement 2 is correct. No. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct. No. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are incorrect. No. Fourth option, statement 1 is correct. Yes. And but statement 2 is incorrect. Yes. Option 4 is correct answer for question number 177. Next is question number 178. Herbarium, botanical gardens, museum, zoological parks and key are considered as. Options are environmental aids, second pollution aids, third taxonomical aids and fourth is the trophic aids. So, it is a direct question students, right? Herbarium, botanical gardens, museums, zoological parks and key, they all are considered as the taxonomical aids and correct option for this question is option number 3. Next is question number 179. Earwax secreting cells have which type of epithelium? Option 1, exocrine glandular epithelium. Second, compound epithelium. Third, endocrine glandular epithelium. Fourth, columnar epithelium. So if we talk about earwax secreting cells, okay, they are the modified sebaceous glands, right, which are actually the exocrine glandular epithelium, right. So correct answer for question number 179 is option 1, exocrine glandular epithelium. Next is question number 180. Select the correct sequence of events occurring during prophase 1 of meiosis 1. We have to arrange them in a correct sequence, everyone. A. Nuclear envelope breakdown. Second, synaptonemal complex formation. C. Compaction of chromosome. D. Terminalization of chiasmata. E. Crossing over. Now choose the most appropriate answer from the options given below. Let's arrange them in a proper manner, guys. First is the compaction. Compaction of chromosomes occur. Okay, let's find C. Option 1, 3 and 4 both have C. Okay, let's move on to second. After compaction, what will happen? Synaptonemal complex is formed, right? So this is the second event after first. Okay, so second, synaptonemal. Let's find B. So fourth option is coming, okay? B, synaptonemal complex formation. Now after synaptonemal complex formation, what will happen? Crossing over occurs, right? Let's find E. Here it is, okay? After crossing over, what will happen? Terminalization of chiasmata occurs, right? So D is there in the option 4, okay? And lastly, nuclear envelope breakdowns. Okay, it gets degenerated. So option 4 is the correct answer for question number 180.
Now we will start with question number 181. This question says, which of the following is a correct statement? And here 4 different options are given. Let's read all the statements one by one. So the first statement is, Z line anchors myosin or thick filament to the end of the sarcomere. No, this is wrong. Why? Because Z line basically anchors thin filament. That's why first statement is wrong. Let's talk about the second statement. It says sarcoplasmic reticulum stores acetylcholine. Basically, sarcoplasmic reticulum is responsible for storing calcium. That's why second one is again wrong. Let's talk the third statement. Myosin cross bridges contains calcium binding site. No, this is wrong. Why? Because myosin cross bridges basically contains ATP binding site. That's why again the third option is wrong. Now the fourth one, actin and regulatory proteins are located in thin filament. This is correct. Acting along with the regulatory proteins, for example troponin and tropomyosin, they are located in thin filament. That's why the fourth option is correct. Answer will be fourth. Question number 182. This question says, how many Y chromosomes are present in second polar body in human beings? We know that in the case of female, means in oogenesis, there is no Y chromosome. There is no Y chromosome in oogenesis. Therefore, second polar body basically forms in oogenesis, and since there is no Y chromosome, therefore you will not find any Y chromosome in second polar body. The answer will be first. Question number 183. This question says, which one of the following hormone reduces the blood pressure? Let's talk about the 4 options. The first option is atrial natriuretic factor. So basically, you know that whenever the blood pressure is going to increase and when this blood volume enters inside the atrias, so due to the pressure of blood over the atrial wall, one hormone is going to secrete. This is known as ANF, atrial natriuretic factor, which is responsible for decreasing the blood pressure by vasodilation. That's why this first option is correct. Let's talk about the other options also. Aldosterone, basically, this aldosterone is responsible for reabsorption of sodium. Along with that, what will happen? Along with sodium, water is also going to reabsorb. So blood volume is going to increase, therefore we can say that blood pressure is going to increase in the case of aldosterone. Let's talk about angiotensin 2. Again, angiotensin 2 is basically a vasoconstrictor. Therefore, it is going to elevate the blood pressure. That's why the third option is incorrect. Let's talk about the fourth option, antidiuretic hormone, ADH. ADH is responsible for reabsorption of water, means the amount of blood or the body fluid is going to increase, means blood pressure is going to elevate. That's why fourth option is also incorrect. The correct answer is the first one. Let's talk about question number 184. This question says, which of the following hormones are secreted in women only during pregnancy? And 5 different hormones are given. These are relaxin, oxytocin, HCG, HPL and progesterone. Since this is the direct question from NCERT and NCERT says that relaxin, HCG and HPL are the 3 different hormones which are secreted only during pregnancy. A, C and D. Let's talk about other hormones also. Let's talk about oxytocin. You know that oxytocin is basically known as milk let down hormone. Means it is responsible to eject the milk after parturition. Therefore, we can say that oxytocin is basically secreted not only in the pregnancy, also after the pregnancy. That's why B is incorrect. Let's talk about progesterone. You know that progesterone is secreted during menstruation cycle as well as progesterone is there during the pregnancy. Therefore, progesterone is not the hormone which secretes only during pregnancy. That's why B and E are incorrect. The correct option will be relaxin, HCG and HPL. Answer will be third, A, C and D. Next question. Question number 185. Beekeeping helps to improve the yield of following crops except. So basically, NCERT says that beekeeping helps to improve the yield of sunflower, apple, brassica and pear. Brassica is basically related to mustard. That's why here 3 options are related with beekeeping. These are sunflower, apple and mustard. So the initial 3 options are related with beekeeping. So here the correct option will be jor. So 185, the correct option will be 4th. Question number 186. This question says, match list 1 with list 2 regarding sensory organs in human. Let's talk about the first one. The first is organ of Corti. Organ of Corti is basically acts as auditory receptor. So for A, the correct match will be 3rd. The second one is nasal mucosa. Nasal mucosa is basically related to olfactory receptors. So for B, the correct match will be 4th. Taste buds are related to gustatory receptors. So C is basically matched with second one. And finally retina. Retina is basically related to photoreceptors. So D is matched with first one. Therefore, the correct option will be the first. Option number 1. A3, B4, C second and D first. Option number 1. Question number 187. Given below are 2 statements, statement 1 and statement 2. Statement 1 says pyramid of energy is always upright and is the most efficient. Yes, this statement is correct. Why we are saying this? Because we know that 10% of the energy is transferred from one tropical level to next tropical level. That's why pyramid of energy always upright. Please see this diagram. This is one tropical level, second tropical level and third tropical level. 10% of the energy will be transferred from one tropical level to next tropical level. Then 10% of the energy will be transferred from this tropical level to next tropical level. That's why you will find decrement in the energy. That's why this particular pyramid of energy remains upright. Let's talk about the second statement. Pyramid of biomass in sea is generally inverted. Again, this statement is true. Why? Because we know that biomass of large fishes in sea is very, very high in comparison to the planktons. Their biomass is very, very low. So, biomass of fishes remains in this tropical level. Then talking about lower fishes or small fishes, it will remain in this tropical level. So, their biomass will be less. And talking about planktons, their biomass is very, very less in comparison to all of three. Therefore, the pyramid of biomass remains inverted in the case of sea. So, both statement 1 and statement 2 is correct. The correct answer will be second. Question number 188. This question says, terrestrial adaptation necessitates the production of. So, here 4 different options are given. You know the theory regarding this. The theory says that ammonia is most toxic. Ammonia is most toxic. After this, there will be urea, and finally uric acid. It is least toxic. Uric acid, least toxic. More toxic substance need more water so that it can be eliminated easily, and least toxic substance needs very less amount of water. So, in the case of terrestrial adaptation, in order to conserve water, they basically produce least or moderately toxic substance. For example, urea and uric acid. Therefore, first statement is true. This says lesser toxic nitrogenous waste, for example, urea and uric acid, are produced in the case of terrestrial adaptation. That's why first statement is true. Answer will be first. Question number 189. Which biological process leads to decrease in fish-eating bird population near a water body containing toxicant from industrial drainage? Here, the correct answer will be option number 3, biomagnification. What is the meaning of biomagnification? We know that in the process of biomagnification, there is continuous accumulation of toxic substance in the organism, which results in decrement in their population. So, how we can relate this definition with this question? Try to understand. There is a water body which contains toxic substance. This toxic substance is basically eaten by the fishes. And finally, these fishes are basically eaten by the birds. So, this toxic substance is there in the bird itself. This toxic substance accumulate, and due to the accumulation of this toxic substance in the bird, there will be thinning in the shell of the egg, which results in decrement in the population of birds. That's why the correct answer for question number 189 is biomagnification, option number 3. Question number 190. What would be the proportion of light and hybrid density DNA molecules respectively if Michelson and Stahl's experiment was continued for 60 minutes? We know that for one DNA replication, 20 minutes are required in case of prokaryotes. 20 minutes are required. So, here 60 minutes are given. So, how many times replication will be there? It will be 3. So, for 60 minutes, 3 times DNA replication will be there. So, value of n will be 3, means this n is representing number of times replication is going to take place. This is the n. What is the formula to calculate number of DNA molecules. The direct formula to calculate number of DNA molecules will be 2 power n. This n is basically representing number of replications. So here number of replications will be 3. So your answer will be 8. So total number of DNA molecules which will be produced, they will be 8. And we know that in the case of Michelson and Stahl experiment, out of the total DNA molecules, 2 will be always hybrid. 2 will be always hybrid. So out of 8, 2 will be hybrid, remaining will be light density DNA molecule. So here remaining will be 6. 6 will be light weighted, light density DNA molecules. So 6 are light and 2 are hybrid. We need to calculate their proportions respectively. First, we will see the proportion of light density DNA molecules. So it will be, for light, it will be 6 by 8 into 100. You will get 75%. And for hybrid, let's calculate hybrid. It will be 2 by 8 into 100. You will get 25%. So proportion of light weighted will be 75, proportion of hybrid will be 25. Your answer will be option number 2.
Students, we'll start solving question number 191. See, first we'll read the question. Identify the properties of a good vector used in rDNA technology. Okay. First option is it should have origin of replication supporting higher copy number. And what we have to find is to choose the most appropriate answer from the options below. That means we have to choose the correct options. Okay, so we'll start reading. A option, it should have origin of replication supporting high copy number. Given in NCERT as it is, origin of replication is a sequence from which replication begins, and it also supports higher copy number. So if the DNA of interest we need in more numbers, if more copies of the target DNA we need, then we should choose a vector which should support high copy number. More copies of the target DNA can be produced. Okay, so this statement is correct. It should have, the good vector should have origin of replication supporting higher copy number so that more copies of the target DNA can be generated. Okay, second option, it should have preferably more than 2 recognition sites. NCERT mentions that a good vector preferably should have only 1 recognition site. Okay, because if it will have more than 1 recognition sites, then more number of the fragments will be generated, and that will complicate the cloning process. Okay, so preferably it should have only 1 recognition site. The restriction sites in the vectors should be in the antibiotic resistance genes. Yes, that's a correct statement. The restriction sites in the vector, it should be in the antibiotic resistance gene, so that when the alien DNA or the foreign DNA is ligated at the place where antibiotic resistance gene is present, then it will lose its antibiotic resistance property. Okay, and thus it will not grow in the medium containing that antibiotic, and by which we can understand which is the recombinant, which is not. Okay, so that's why the restriction sites should be in the antibiotic resistance gene. The next statement, it should have a suitable marker gene. Yes, the good vector should have a selectable marker gene present. Yes, it should have a suitable marker gene present in a good vector. It should be easy to isolate and purify. Yes, the good vector should be easy to isolate and purify so that the entire process goes in an easy way. So if we finally find the most appropriate options in this given question, then our first option was correct. Then second option, B option, was wrong because it should have preferably only 1 recognition site. Okay. Then the restriction sites in the vector should be in antibiotic resistance genes is correct, and D and E both statements are correct. So finally the answer goes as 3, A, C, D, E, as only our second, that is B statement, is wrong. So finally the answer goes to 3. A, C, D, E, the statements are correct. Question number 192. Given below are two statements. One is labeled as assertion A and another as reason R. Okay, so first we'll read assertion A. The nematode cannot survive in a transgenic host which expresses specific interfering RNA. That's a correct statement. Reason for this statement given is as nematode specific gene introduced into the host produces both sense and antisense complementary RNA, which interferes the which initiate the RNA interference in the host cell. So actually, the nematode, it affects the root of the tobacco plant. And for the growth of this nematode in the roots of the tobacco plant, some protein is essential, that is essential for the growth of the nematode. So, if suppose a particular gene is responsible for forming mRNA, and this mRNA will translate into protein, and this protein is essential for the growth of nematode in the root of the tobacco plant. If somehow we silence this mRNA, this protein will not be formed, and thus the nematode growth in the root of the tobacco plant will be hindered. So what is done is the nematode specific gene, okay, is introduced into the host plant, into the tobacco plant, okay, produces both sense and antisense complementary RNA. Now this sense and antisense complementary RNA will together form double-stranded RNA. Okay, this sense and antisense complementary RNA will together form double-stranded RNA. Okay, this double-stranded RNA, since it is formed from that same gene, will be complementary to the mRNA sequence of the nematode. Now, once the nematode infests the root of the tobacco plant, then that mRNA, since it is complementary to this double-stranded RNA, this mRNA of the nematode attaches to the sense and antisense complementary RNA, and thus it initiates RNA, it initiates the RNA interference in the host cell. Since this mRNA interference is happening, therefore the proteins is not formed, and thus the nematode does not grow, and therefore it cannot survive in the transgenic host which expresses specific interfering RNA. So this is the reason and this is the statement. So both are correct, and actually the reason is the correct explanation for the assertion, for the statement. So we go to answer 2, where both A and R, both assertion and reason are correct, and reason is the correct explanation of the assertion. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. Now the next question, match list 1 and list 2. Adhering junction. Adhering is by which any substance which is attaching to things. Okay, so if we directly read the statements, establishes a barrier that prevents leakage of extracellular fluid across a layer of cells. So for the first statement, establishes a barrier that prevents leakage. So it is so tightly placed that even that junction will prevent the leakage of the extracellular fluid. So such type of statement can be for tight junction, because tight junctions, the cells are so closely placed that it will even prevent the leakage of extracellular fluid in between them across the layer of cells. So for our statement 1, the answer is tight junctions. Okay, so if we read second statement, functions like rivets junction and fasten cells together into strong sheaths. Okay, so for this option, rivet junction, what is rivet? Rivet is just a metal pin, okay, which attaches two metal sheets. Suppose this is one metal sheet and this is another metal sheet. So rivet is like a metal pin which will attach to two metal sheets. Okay, so it is just adhering or attaching two metal sheets. So functions like rivet junction and fasten cells together into strong sheets. So actually this statement is for adhering junctions, okay, like desmosomes. So what is there in that? The adhering junction, the cells are adhered to each other, okay, so cells are adhered to each other by rivet junctions, okay. They are like rivet junction. So cells are adhered to each other. Okay, they are just attached to each other, and it is similar to the rivet junction. The rivets are the metal pins which attaches two metal sheets together. Similar to there is adhering junction between the cells which fasten cells together into strong sheets. So for second option, there is adhering junction. Gap junction. So gap junction. So we'll first read the statements. Pass information junctions through neurotransmitter from one cell to another. So if there is one presynaptic neuron and there is postsynaptic neuron, okay, then there will be some neurotransmitters present in the synaptic vesicles in the presynaptic neurons. These neurotransmitters, once released, okay, there's an entire process by which they get released. So once it gets released into the synaptic, this cleft, then it attaches to the receptors present in the postsynaptic neurons, okay, and the information, or you can say the synapse, because of this this type of synapse in which the neurotransmitter gets released into the cleft region, they bind to the receptor, the signals is transmitted. So pass information junctions through neurotransmitter from one cell to another is synaptic junction, which attaches presynaptic neuron to postsynaptic neuron, and there is a transmission of impulse. There is no direct connection, okay, but there is always a cleft present, a gap present, and therefore there are neurotransmitters are essential which will take the information from presynaptic neurons to the postsynaptic neurons. So for this statement, the option D is correct. Now last statement we'll read. Provide cytoplasmic junctions. Cytoplasmic junctions channels from one cell to adjacent cells for communication. So that goes for gap junction. So if suppose this is one cell, okay, and if this is another cell, so there will be some cytoplasmic junction, okay, bridge-like junction. So provide cytoplasmic junction channels from one cell to adjacent cells for communication. So that is gap junction. A gap is there, but some cytoplasmic bridges is there for communication between adjacent cells. So finally, if we go for A, it is 2. So A is 2 is only in one option. So our answer is 2. A 2, then our B is 1, then C is 4th, and D is 3. So finally, the answer is 2. Okay. Question number 194. Given below are two statements. One is labeled as assertion A and another is labeled as reason R. Assertion A. In human beings, insulin is synthesized as a prohormone, which needs to be processed before it becomes fully mature and functional. Reason R. The extra stretch of C-peptide is to be removed from A peptide and B peptide chain of insulin. Okay, the extra stretch of C peptide is to be removed from A peptide and B peptide chain of insulin. So if we just understand whether both the statements are correct, okay, directly given in NCERT, but if we understand whether it is the reason for this statement assertion or not, we directly can understand the extra stretch of C peptide is to be removed from A and B peptide. Therefore, in human beings, insulin is synthesized as a prohormone which needs to be processed. Since we have to remove that extra C peptide, therefore, insulin is produced as proinsulin and it needs to be processed to become fully mature insulin and make it functional. Okay, so simply NCERT also has given this this diagram in which there is an A peptide, then to the A peptide another this C peptide is attached, and then a B peptide chain is there. So B peptide, then this is A peptide, and this is the extra C peptide. Okay, so this we call it as proinsulin because there is always an extra C peptide attached. Okay, so this is not mature insulin. Now it is further processed so that this C peptide is removed and only the A peptide and B peptide is there. Okay, A peptide is there and B peptide is there. Chains are there attached to each other by the disulfide bonds. and this C peptide is removed. And once the C peptide gets removed, then that is called as mature insulin. So the extra stretch of C peptide is to be removed from A peptide and B peptide chain of insulin, and therefore the insulin is synthesized as prohormone. It needs to be processed to become fully functional. So for us, if we go for the option, A is not correct, R is correct, both statements are correct, and reason is the correct explanation for A. So directly we go to option second. Both A and R are correct, and R is correct explanation of A. So finally our answer is 2. Question number 195. Which one of the following features are not true for chordates? First option, heart is dorsal. We have to just concentrate, which is not true for chordates. Chordates, okay? Again and again read the question so that you do not do any mistake while understanding the question and finally interpreting the answer. A option, heart is dorsal. We are chordates, yes, we are actually vertebrates. So heart is dorsal, our heart is ventral. So this statement is wrong because we know the heart is ventrally placed. Okay, so we know this option is wrong. Please read the next option. Pharynx is perforated by gill slits. Yes, that's the property of chordates, that the pharynx is perforated by gill slits. It may disappear in the adult stage, but yes, in the embryonic stages, pharynx is perforated by gill slits. That's correct statement. Central nervous system is ventral, solid and single. In chordates, the heart is ventral, while central nervous system is dorsally placed. So it's wrong statement again. C statement is wrong. The central nervous system is dorsal, okay? Then it is not solid, it is hollow. And yes, it is single. So this statement is not completely correct. So this is a wrong statement. Post-anal tail is present. Yes, it's a property of chordates directly given in NCERT in the form of difference tables between chordates and non-chordates. So post-anal tail is present. Yes, it is. Notochord is present. Yes, it is present. It's a very important question. So finally, if we conclude, option A and C is wrong, and we have been asked which is not true for chordates. So directly we will jump to the options, choose the most appropriate answer. Not true is asked, and we know A and C is wrong. So for this third, A and C only, these statements are incorrect, rest all are correct. So finally our answer is 3. Question number 196. Match list 1 with 2. Okay, so chromoplast, amyloplast, elaioplast, eluroplast is asked. Now these are all types of plastids. Okay, directly again given in NCERT. Chromoplast, chromo word means color. Okay, so chromoplast are plastid containing pigments, okay, color. So if we see list 2, proteins, oils and fats, starch, carotene. Carotene is the chromoplast is actually the plastid containing carotenoids. So for chromoplast, we'll mark it as 4. Amyloplast, amylopsin, that's actually a carbohydrate, okay? So amyloplast, we'll search for a carbohydrate, proteins, oils and fats, starch, yes, okay? Amyloplast for starch, okay? Then elaioplast, elaioplast is again oils, fats. So elaioplast, oils and fats, direct question from NCERT. Eluroplast, eluroplast stands for proteins, only the left thing. Proteins. So if we directly go to the options, chromoplast is carotene. So A is 4. So A is 4 in all the options. So we'll go to the next one. Amyloplast, amyloplast is starch. B is 3. So B is 3 is only option 1 and 3. So we'll proceed with only options 1 and 3. Then elaioplast is oils and fats. Elaioplast is oil and fats. That is C is 2. So C is 2 is our first option only. 3 options, C is 1. So C is 2. So answer goes to 1. Okay. Question number 197. Match list 1 with list 2. Puccinia. Puccinia, we know that's actually called as rust fungi. Puccinia causes wheat rust. Puccinia is an example of basidiomycetes, again given in NCERT. Neurospora. Neurospora is greatly used for biochemical and genetic work. That's the same option given, biochemical and genetic work. Okay. Then saprophytes. Saprophyte is actually, they feed on dead substrate, dead decayed organisms. So that's given as an option, saprophytes, dead substrates. And albugo. Albugo, it's an example of Phycomycetes, again given in NCERT, a parasitic fungus on mustard. Okay. So directly if we see the option, choose the correct answer is asked. So Puccinia we know is wheat rust, A3. So A3 is given in two options, first and fourth. So we will proceed with first and fourth option. Neurospora, B4. So B4 in first and fourth, B4 is given only in first option. So directly we can mark it as first. Still we will read it further. Saprophytes, dead substrate, C2, and albuco, D1. So that confirms our answer, and answer is 1. So we'll discuss question 198 now. Select the correct match regarding adaptive radiation of Australian marsupials corresponding to placental mammals. Okay, that's the question. The options are Tasmanian wolf bobcat, marsupial mouse mole, spotted cuscus lemur, numbat flying squirrel. So actually this is a question from NCERT where there is a diagrammatic representation of Australian marsupials corresponding to the placental mammals, okay, given in the under the topic adaptive radiations. Okay, so when two or more adaptive radiations, they occur in an isolated geographical area, maybe in different habitats, then that's called as convergent evolution. So that's examples are given in NCERT in diagrammatic representation. So if we compare, in this side, marsupials are given, okay, while here all placental mammals are given. So if we compare Tasmanian wolf bobcat, that's wrong, because corresponding to Tasmanian wolf, that's a marsupial, there is wolf. Diagram of wolf shown, that's a placental mammal. Okay. Marsupial mouse mole, again that's wrong. Marsupial mouse is a marsupial, while mole, that's wrongly given. That's mouse is given corresponding to marsupial mouse. Spotted cuscus lemur is correct. Spotted cuscus is a marsupial corresponding to which lemur is a placental mammals, both showing adaptive radiations. Then numbat flying squirrel, here this numbat is wrong. Okay, corresponding to flying squirrel, which is a placental mammal, flying phalanger is given in NCERT. So if we go towards the option, then our answer third is correct. Now question number 199. Given below are two statements. Statement 1. When an infected female Anopheles mosquito bites, it releases gametocytes of Plasmodium into a healthy person. Into the healthy person, it is wrong statement. Why it is wrong? See, when an infected female Anopheles mosquitoes bites in a healthy person, for the very first time, it releases not gametocytes, it releases sporozoids into the healthy person. Okay. Now, if we read statement 2, the female Anopheles mosquito takes up sporozoids of Plasmodium with blood meal from an infected person suffering from malaria. So, in the first statement, the female Anopheles mosquito was biting a healthy person. So, when it bites the healthy person for the first time, it releases sporozoids. And when it bites an infected person already suffering from malaria, then it just takes up the gametocytes and not sporozoids. It just takes up the gametocytes. Okay, so for sporozoids, gametocytes will come. Okay, so in replacement to sporozoites, gametocytes will come. So if we read the statement now again, the female Anopheles mosquito takes up the gametocytes of Plasmodium with blood meal. Okay, from the blood of the human, from the blood of the infected human, it takes up the gametocytes from an infected person suffering from malaria. In the light of above statements, choose the most appropriate answer from the options given below. Statement 1 is incorrect, but statement 2 is correct. That's wrong because both statements are wrong. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct. That's again the option is wrong. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are incorrect. That's the correct option. If we read further, statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is incorrect is again the wrong. So our answer goes to 3. Question number 200. If a DNA molecule is shortened by 25 base pairs, how many helical turns will be reduced from its structure? So that's again, we know that the one turn consists of 10 base pairs. Okay. Now, how many base pairs are shortened if the DNA molecule is shortened by 25 base pairs? Okay. So 10 base pairs makes one turn, and DNA molecule is shortened by 25 base pairs. So how many turns will be reduced from its structure? So that's simple, 25 by 10. That makes it as 2.5 turns. So our answer is 3 turns, 2.5 to 1. So answer is second. That is, since one turn has 10 base pairs approximately, so if 25 base pairs are reduced, then how many turns will be reduced in the structure? So if 25 base pairs are removed, that means approximately 2.5 turns will be reduced from the DNA structure. Okay, with this we finish solving the NEET 2022 paper held on 17th July 2022. Thank you.